So welcome to video 3 of our introduction to Python, our course B04. And here we're looking at setting up the Python environment. So what you can do is go to this website called JetBrains, and there you can access the Windows interface to access PyCharm and download it there. You'll see a download link that you don't want to look for the professional option. You want to go here for the community option that's free. Download that. When you are trying to download it, you'll get this command just to run it, which you should do on your computer, and continue with the installation. Just hit next. You may get a Windows computer prompt. Just hit no, you don't need to do anything. Keep clicking next and install. If you want, you can install the Community Edition desktop shortcut, which is advised so that you can actually access it. You can add it to the bin folder, but that might not work on your computer. And you might want to open these ones as well to associate Python scripts with the .py extension, and then open the folder as a project and just hit next for that there. A plan B, if you have issues, is to use the cluster. And I suggest actually for the initial stages where you're just playing around with writing Python that you can actually use this, which is nice to quite a nice interface. So what you need to do is log on to the cluster and type in Python 3, as you can see here on our script here. And what you'll see is that when you type in Python 3, this prompt with the 3 greater than symbols pops up. And then you can type in things after that, like 1 + 1. And you can see that Python is giving your answer 2. You can say name, and you can assign that to the value u. And then say print, my name is, comma, name, and it will say my name is u. So you can see you can write your commands here at the prompt. So after the greater than symbols, and it can act like a very basic command line system, a bit like R in that sense as well on the Oryx cluster. So PyCharm and Oryx cluster are a bit different. So PyCharm, when you start, it'll look like this when you initiate it, and you'll see there you get an opportunity to open up a new project, which you should do. So open up a new project, and that will create a script called main.py. You should make sure you put it in a folder that you can access on your computer. You'll see an interface like this. So this is just generic text that appears in main.py at the start. You don't need to keep it, but it might be handy to at least read it. You may get another computer prompt before this pops up. Just hit no, it doesn't matter. If you want to create another project again, you have the file system menu here, where you can do different things like change the view if you so choose. And you can see here, there's comments here. They're written after this hash symbol. Then we have code written here. This is in fact a function that's been written here. And there's other stuff down here. So you can sort of see the codes in different colors as well. So let's go over some terminology that's important here. Firstly, we have our py file, .py, our Python file. That's essentially just a simple text file of your code and, importantly, your comments. A vector is a list of numbers, or sometimes as a list of strings. A variable is something that we define. So we can define a variable x as being assigned the value 5 if we want. Or indeed, we could assign x as a list of numbers 2. That's also possible. We can have a function is a piece of code that typically takes on an argument like x here, like len x, to get the length of that list if x is a list. So here x is an argument. It's a value that's sent to a function. A library is a package of Python functions that does something that's useful. We use a special command called import to import a function, like import statistics. Import, we'll use a library called numpy later. Numerical Python is what it stands for. And then we have the environment. We're working in Windows, but you'll see that PyCharm and then the cluster are slightly different environments with slightly different features occasionally. And then when we're extracting these libraries, we're going to the Python package index, which contains lots of libraries for us. And there's many libraries and many different guises to help us with our work. So when you look at PyCharm and you set up an empty project, So we have main.py. This is the location. I think I called it test1. And then I've typed in a simple command. Name is assigned the value u. So that's a simple command inside our script. So you can see the ending here is main.py. So you recognize that it's a Python script. And you see here we have line numbers here denoting the lines that we have. That's the setup of a basic Python script. So you can see the setup is quite slightly different for the prompt here on the cluster. You should get experience with both just so you can see how they both work. So this is our main menu, our script, our settings, if you need to change the settings, and this is where we write code. So write a code down here, and down below where we can see on here, we'll see an executing kind of panel that will show our code being executed. So our working directory is specified at the start, so you can see that here. When we look further across to the right, you'll see this special key here that allows us to run our program. So if you press that key, it will execute our code inside here. So we're assigning a number to be 33. We're assigning a variable called width to be value 5, and we're printing width multiplied by a number. So Python will compute that inside the ground brackets, 5 by 33, and then print it out for us in the console below. So we'll see something like this. So this is our code. There's more stuff in there now. Exists the file location here. This is stuff that it's printing out, which are other commands beyond those just listed here. You can also hit this command down here if you want to run it there, but I advise you just to use this one up at the start is the most convenient. So this panel here also shows where you're working from. So I'm users, Tim Downing, PyCharm projects, test1, main.py. That's the script I'm using at the moment. And you see that's actually executing Python from within that test1 folder. It's created a virtual environment to do so. So when you look at these prompts, you can just type in a simple command like 1+1, and Python will give you the response. That's kind of how it works. You give it a command, it gives you a response. You can give it a set of commands, but that's easier to do in a script. So that's why we kind of have to kind of consider whether we want to do things on the command prompt or on a script. So here's an example where we type in 1+1, it gives our answer 2, 3 by 8 is 24, name is assigned as use, and then we say print name, and it gives us back that name we assigned. There are a variety of number types here that where they maybe can create slight differences. So there's integers that have no decimal points, like our value 2 here. There's floating point numbers which do contain decimal points. And then there's other numbers as well, complex numbers, for example, that we're probably not going to deal with. So just note that integers and floats are treated differently in Python, and our main distinction is between numbers, like integers and floats, distinct from strings. Strings are characters, sets of characters, like your name, for example, is a string of letters. So that's the end of video 3 on setting up our Python environment.